Hello everyone and welcome to Juan Between the Pages. My name is Juan and in today's video we're going to talk about this mid of the year freak out book, tag, thing. I don't know, I'm new. I'm going to be answering in a kind of rapid fire, very short, very summarized way every single question from this tag. I'm going to talk about the books that I read this year so far, the ones I liked, the ones I didn't like much, the ones I hated. I don't think there's one I hated. For a more deep or a more complete review of these books, you can watch the videos that are already made. And also stay tuned because next week I'm going to post my June wrap-up in which I'm going to talk about a lot of the books that I made to this list. So stay tuned. So let's begin, shall we? Number 1, best book you have read so far in 2022. That's a really tricky question. I'm gonna say Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. And I'm also going to say The Song of Achilles or Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Piranesi tells the story of a man named Piranesi who lives inside this huge house with magical powers. This book is amazing. It covers a lot of different topics. It's mostly philosophical, existentialist, and the story is told in a very whimsical, magical way in which you discover the world with Piranesi and you witness what happened to him and what happened to this world and the characters that live inside the house. Definitely an easy 4.5, 5 stars book. It's amazing and it's one of my favorite books of this year so far. Now, The Song of Achilles is a very popular book here on YouTube, especially last year, but I read it in January because I was so excited to read it and I was like, this has to be one of my first books of 2022 and I don't regret it. As you may know, or you may not, Song of Achilles tells the story of Achilles and Patroclus. It's like a retelling of the Iliad but from the perspective of Patroclus and his romantic relationship with Achilles, and it's so magical, it's so well written, it's so good. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology and this book is amazing. It's going to be a very sad book, just I'm warning you, like every single obstacle that Patroclus has to overcome with Achilles and their relationship, they're very tough, not only because of Achilles' mother, but also the context and the war. So there's a lot of things going on, and I think that it's very interesting to tell the story from a perspective of a side character and see how Achilles becomes the hero of the story. Even though I love Patroclus, he's amazing, he's my spirit animal, and yeah. I'm going to give The Song of Achilles 4.5 stars out of 5. I think it's amazing. It's also one of my favorite books of the year. Those two are like right there. I think Piranesi is my favorite one because it's an original story, but I think that The Song of Achilles is so well written and it's so easy to read. And I think it's an achievement to make these stories so popular, so mainstream in 2022. So kudos to Madeline Miller. You're amazing. Now, best sequel you have read so far. Ooh, this one's going to be a controversial one. Of course, I'm going to have to say Heartstopper too, but since I've talked a lot about Heartstopper in my previous videos, so I'm not going to say Heartstopper, even though you know that Heartstopper is also one of my favorite sequels. But I think I'm going to say Heroes of Olympus, the Percy Jackson saga. It's the second one after the first one, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is my first reading of the whole series and I'm adoring it. I've read the first 3 books and 4 and 5 are still in my TBR list. I started reading them at the beginning of the year. I read the 3 of them in a row, but I got like overwhelmed and I needed a break, but I will for sure continue the saga because it's amazing. I can notice how Rick Riordan's way of writing matured and also the characters. So I think that they're so well written, so well done. All the new characters, I love them all. They're amazing. And you will read the story now from different perspectives and get to know what happened to Percy, especially in the second book. So stay tuned. So I totally recommend this. This is also not new, but it's new to me. So here you go, 4 stars for Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus. And stay tuned because I'm going to review the last 2 books soon, so yeah. Okay, new release you haven't read but you want to read. I'm going to say Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I recently finished Beach Read, and Beach Read is amazing. I think Beach Read is my favorite one. It's like Beach Read, then People We Meet on Vacation, and now we are going to see where Book Lovers goes. And also I'm going to say Sea of Tranquility. There's a lot of people who recommended me this book. I know it's a story told by 3 different characters in 3 different time periods, so I'm really excited to read it. I don't want to spoil myself with the plot, I'm just going to buy it and enjoy the book. So I think I'm gonna read it more like in September, October, but I'm really excited to give it a go. Next one. Most anticipated book for the second half of the year. I'm going to say A Dash of Salt and Pepper. I am really looking forward to read an adult romance LGBTQ story. Most of my favorite LGBTQ stories are young adult, and I really want to read a story in which I can relate more to the characters. It happens to me that I relate a lot to the characters from the Emily Henry books because they're more my age, around my age. And then I love the LGBTQ stories told in Heartstopper or What If It's Us, and those kind of books. So I'm really looking forward to read this book. This is when it gets really interesting. Biggest disappointment. I'm going to say One of Us is Lying. I had high hopes for this book. I was really looking forward to read this book, and I thought, okay, let's give it a go. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be very interesting. And it was not. I know that there's a lot of people who actually like this book, and hey, you do you. I think that books are not for everyone. I think this book was not for me. I love a good mystery, but I thought that this story was already told, that the characters were very stereotypical. I think that the mystery wasn't as compelling as I wanted it to be. So in a way, I think that this was not a good book for me. And for more detail, I'm going to talk about this book next week on my June wrap-up. So stay tuned. Okay, biggest surprise. Okay, I think I have 2 books for this category. The first one is Pride and Prejudice. This is my first time reading this book and I absolutely adored it. I thought it was going to be long and dull, and it was nothing like that. I really enjoyed the ride, and now I realize why this is a huge thing in literature history. I think that Pride and Prejudice is like the foundation for a lot of romance stories that are told these days, and a lot of tropes too. So I really adored Pride and Prejudice. I'm really happy that I gave it a go this year. And also, I'm going to say We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I know that this book has a lot of mixed reviews, but I expected nothing when I started to read this book. So I was like, okay, let's give it a go. It's going to be one more silly book, and that's it. And it was a really sad book. I like books when there's an unreliable narrator, and this one is one of them. I'm not going to get into spoiler territory, but it's about a girl whose family is really rich, and she always goes on vacation to this little island in which they have huge houses, and there's like 3 sisters and her grandparents and these cousins and the best friend of one of the cousins, and they're like a little group, the Liars. There's an accident from which the main character has amnesia and she doesn't know what happened, and there's like a whole mystery, and then she finally comes back to this place with all these people, and then you get to know what really happened that summer where she got amnesia. I know it's not a book for everyone, so it's fine, but for me it was a surprise. I'm not going to say this is like a huge deal, it's one of my favorite books, but it was a nice surprise. I ended up finishing this book and I was really like reflecting about what I have read, so I think it's pretty good. New favorite author, Alice Oseman. I made a whole video dedicated to them, at least for the first books. Then I have to read the other 3. What I really adore from Alice Oseman is how they take these little things in life and they make this huge thing, this huge deal, and these wholesome moments. And I think that that's a really difficult thing to do. And I think that Alice Oseman, especially in Heartstopper, like captures these little things, these little gestures, these little moments, and makes them big and explosive, and that's why it's a huge hit here on the internet. So I'm really happy to have read Heartstopper this year. Ooh, newest fictional crush. I'm going to say Alex from People We Meet on Vacation. He has huge golden retriever energy and I adore that. Oh no, the next question. Newest favorite character. Nick Nelson. Also a golden retriever. There's a pattern here for sure. A book that made you cry. Song of Achilles. I already said it. It's really, really sad, especially like the last 20 pages. A book that made you happy. You know the answer, right? Yeah. I don't want to say the name because I'm going to be very repetitive, but here it is. Favorite movie or TV adaptation? Okay, the most beautiful book you have bought this year. I think I'm going to say The Wind in the Willows. Yes, I bought a children's book, but I have never read it, so I thought, let's give it a go. And it's a really, really cute book. I really cannot wait to read this book. Yeah, I know it's silly, but I really want to read it. I'm going to review it for sure. And last but not least, which books are you excited to read this year? Ooh, there's a lot. Okay, here's some books that I'm really, really looking forward to read. I'm currently reading The Great Gatsby and I'm reading Normal People. I'm actually reading Normal People via audiobook because I commute a lot and that helps. I'm really looking forward to read The House in the Cerulean Sea, Radio Silence, I Kiss Shara Wheeler, Ace of Spades, and also the rest of Heroes of Olympus that I'm really looking forward to finish that story. Woo! So this one was my whole mid-year book freak-out tag thing, answering questions about books. I hope you guys can really enjoy this video. Please, please, please like, comment down below which of these books you really adored, which one do you really want to read, and which one you didn't like. I really, really want to know. And also stay tuned. Next week I'm going to post my June wrap-up, so I'm going to talk about some of the books that are on this list. And thank you so much for watching and for supporting the channel. Subscribe for more and see you guys the next time. Bye bye.